Ben McKee and then go to Ryan.
Yeah, Tony, just kind of same old story that we talked about all season, just a resilient bunch. Just what'd you see kind of with that comeback and just the Evan Russell's performance?
You saw guys literally do whatever they had to do for the jersey they were wearing. I mean, Evan Russell is an in-state kid that has bled orange his whole life. And then in addition, you got a guy like Connor Pavoloni that maybe came from out of state, but from day one, he has ingrained himself, into the culture we have going on here, and he's a huge part of it. And the guy literally gave up his hand to get on base there. So that's just the start of things. I mean, there was just a great team effort and a great energy in the park today, which, to be honest with you, I think the biggest challenge you got mentally against the club we just played is the two guys you're staring down. What if you don't beat the first one? Now you're facing a guy that, to this point has kind of appeared to be unhittable or unbeatable. So to show up with that attitude and then carry it throughout the game, including after we gave up a lead, was quite impressive. But when you have leaders like Will Heflin on the mound, it's a dang good start.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Will. It seems like he's had his two best starts in SEC play when you all have lost that Friday game. What does that say about him? And then what specifically did you see from him today?
I think it's parallel to why he's in the role. I mean, what you're looking for after you take one on the chin on a Friday night is the next day, some stability, some maturity, and some consistency, and also kind of knowing what you're going to get, all things kind of in those categories. And that's the reason he's in that spot. So it tends to show up on all days, but in particular when you need it most, like I said, after you take it on the chin.
All right, we'll go to Mike next.
Yeah, Tony, in terms of individual single game performances, where does this one stack up for Evan Russell, and what went through your mind and blood pressure in the 8th inning there when he hit that grand slam?
He kind of shocked me. I mean, the ball wasn't carrying that great. Some of their hitters would, be frustrated by that, but also some of ours. And, all I wanted was to get that guy in from third. So as soon as I saw a little bit of elevation to the ball, I was excited about that. But, also wanted Evan to get going in case that was a ball in that spot. Anyone who plays at our park knows the deepest part of that park is kind of that corner close to where it says 385. Now, he hit it just a little bit to the left of that, but any ball can be caught in that area and any ball can get hung up and dropped. So I'm running like a madman to run. And, Evan's probably smarter than me in that situation because he felt the way it came off the bat. And, you felt like that last one almost kind of, was to the wall, and the fans kind of blew it out with just the energy that was in the park each time our guys had any kind of success at the plate. But in particular on that one, it showed these guys and the people in this town how electric SEC baseball is.
All right, we'll go to
What allowed you guys to, sorry, Sean, what allowed you guys to have so much success against Jack Leiter today?
I think the decision to come to the park without a defeatist attitude, it kind of falls back on what I said before, but once the game starts, if we're pulling hitters aside and saying, you got to do this, or you got to adjust that, it's a little bit too late. So I think a lot of it had to do with determination. Now, I don't want to sell our video and Coach Elander and staff short and our guys being locked into the message we gave them about the pitcher we were facing, because there was a lot of time put into that stuff. But I don't think you can execute any of that without the right mentality. And, going back to the top, maybe it was Ryan that said it, whoever it was, kind of same theme with this group. I mean, they stick together and they fight and they got some grit to them. And that kind of initiated being able to put some good at-bats against a guy who's going to be probably an all-star in the big leagues.
All right, go to Wes.
Tony, got a couple questions. First off, do you have any update on Connor? I know it's kind of fresh, but any update there at all?
Yeah, the good fortune of our facilities here is we always brag about how compact everything is. So we're able to scoot them over there right away and get x-rayed. And Dr. Klink, who's really saved the whole athletic department trying to battle through this COVID thing, was put to work again. And I cannot speak for those guys. I can tell you Woody, our trainer, came up to me and said they did not see a fracture. So I think the safest thing to say is it's better than worst case scenario. And it's also not as bad as I or Connor thought it was. Of course, others too, initially. But that doesn't mean there's not a severity of pain, and maybe something got missed in that x-ray. So we'll just have to wait and see and get an official diagnosis from Dr. Klink and Jeff Wood, our trainer. And then we'll have a better estimate on when he'll be back, but he will be back. And when he does, it'll be fun because he's a great kid. I mean, obviously a good player, but he was awfully emotional about that deal. So it'll be fun when we get him back.
And the second thing, baseball can be such an emotional game, and you hit those 2 home runs and then the 3 unearned runs, you go down 3-2 just at the snap of a finger. What did you see from your guys in that moment? Did you see them sink a little bit? Was there any concern there?
I think, when you get punched in the gut, there's a sort of feeling where you're deflated and you're stunned for a minute. And you're not involved in the game if that doesn't happen on either side. I mean, you look at any SEC game, especially this one today, the blows that go back and forth. When you receive one, you're not human or you're not invested if you don't feel something. So you could see some things. And I think we might have lost a clipboard in the dugout. I was not the culprit, at least this evening, on that situation. But then it was, let's get back to playing baseball or whatever kind of would go in line with that phrase right there. And it was impressive. And again, leadership comes in a lot of different forms, but for Will to go back out there and kind of settle back in or just get right back to what he was doing, was big, but also in the dugout and on offense to realize there's still 9 innings to play here total. So can't get wrapped up in one minor failure there. Well, somewhat minor.
All right, we'll go to Hayden and then Alex.
Yeah, especially after last night, was the feeling kind of like we have to win this game? And then for tomorrow, how do you press the reset button to try to come out and just win the series?
Sure. Well, I didn't sense that from the guys, and you're always trying to get a pulse on what's going on, and a unique amount of looseness was kind of what I sensed in the cages during early work, and then also just around the facility throughout the day. For what went on, and maybe that was me getting in my feelings about my personal situation last night, but I thought it was a unique amount of looseness. And, the crazy thing is you go throughout the year, you want to be focused and loose, but it's a delicate combination. And I didn't think there was any way they wouldn't be focused today, but relaxed was something they took upon themselves to do. And again, that kind of led into a lot of things that were done individually successfully on the field. So what was the second part? I'm sorry. Tomorrow. Gosh dang it. Let us enjoy this for like an hour and then tomorrow will come. But I'm obviously being facetious, but tomorrow is a fresh day. So on Friday, we talked about, you have to reset and get ready for round 2. Round 2 is involved with round 1, but it's separate. And so you're not living right, in my opinion, if you're not saying the same thing about today. Yes, now we have the momentum or whatever you want to call it relating to your questions for tomorrow, but tomorrow is mutually exclusive from today, and our guys need to come to work with the right approach. And we talked about that briefly in the outfield as a group, what the right quote unquote approach is. And we just need to bring that and we'll take our chances. And we don't have control over what those guys will do, but they're awfully talented and they're well coached. So they're going to bring all kinds of good stuff tomorrow. And that's what everybody involved signed up for. It'll be fun.
Hey, Coach, I got 2 questions. First, on Evan Russell. He's got 2 home runs against Jack Leiter tonight, a high-level prospect. Then he's got 2 home runs against Hill from LSU. I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on his level to be able to perform against these top-level guys.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I'll take the easy way out and just talk about how he hits in general. He's a guy that wants the big moment, first of all. So that ties into your little bit. He wants to be in that spot. And he was like that as a freshman. And he was a guy too, who could have taken an easier route at a couple different colleges, maybe, or just a different plan for himself individually. But he saw he wanted to be here and he made it happen. And then when he got here, I got to be honest with you, wasn't a guy that stuck out to a new coaching staff right away that would either stick around for a long time or make a big impact. But he knew what he wanted to do and he made it happen. So he's obviously strong now. I mean, he's completely transformed his frame with Coach Q, and he's an awfully strong sucker and in really good shape. But he's the type of kid that sees or recognizes or envisions what he wants to do, and then he just goes and does it. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But it is incredible how many times it has worked out for him. But going back to my original short answer, the guy's got an immense amount of passion for this place. And I just kind of find it ironic, a personal tangent, that Folke is the guy that threw out our first pitch today, because he kind of mirrors that deal that Heflin and Evan Russell have going on. And I'm elated that he's back playing with Coach Barnes next year. That's huge for us. But I like it even more that he's hanging around the baseball field today, because I'm a big karma guy. Call me crazy. I know his pitch was a ball, but his jump shot's a lot better than that. We kind of, had some karma going today, and he was a part of it, which was kind of fun.
And then second question, you were saying earlier how facing against Leiter, a guy who seemed unbeatable, and for your team to be able to put 3 runs up on him today, he had only allowed 3 runs up to this point so far this season. Being able to, do fairly well at the plate, especially for guys struggling a bit like Pavoloni, to be able to take one deep on him. How big of a confidence boost do you think this is for the bats in the lineup?
I think it benefits you in the long run. So let's say we lose today. I'm a big believer you get something out of every game you play as long as you're invested. And regardless of outcome, I think our guys now know that it's impossible for another team to throw better stuff at us. It might be something where someone could argue it's equal to Rocker or Leiter, but I just don't see it. And, it's really challenging for those 2 kids to bring their best every time out because they're big names now, but also they're back-to-back. So law of percentages say, you're not going to have 2 guys back-to-back every weekend be completely on, but they've kind of done that. And in my opinion, we got a Kumar that remembered that we had some success against him as a freshman, and that he didn't have success against Georgia, and he brought it. It was something else. And then Leiter, while we did a great job, I mean, when they got that lead, he turned into a different animal out there on the mound. And so I think we saw some of his best stuff. So going all the way to May or June or wherever it all ends up, our guys can at the very least say they've seen the best.
I got time for one more, so we'll go to Michael Epps to finish off.
Coach, yeah, you mentioned the fans a couple times. It just felt like it was an incredible atmosphere. Obviously, you're locked into the game, but did you just take a second to absorb the moment, and just kind of what a huge stage this was and how much fun it was today?
Yeah, no, it stinks being the head coach because you can't really kind of look around or you want to, but you're supposed to be a responsible adult, which I question whether I'm that at times. But the one thing that, has been different the last 2 days is you can't deny, you can feel it. You don't have to see it or even hear it. I guess you got to hear it a little bit, but you can feel it. And you could kind of, see that it boosts our guys. I mean, our guys have done things to magnetize those people to come here, and they're being entertained by the way our guys go about their business, even in a loss at times. But they're making our guys better by being around here and just being involved in the way they are. There's certainly not people here just sitting and eating Cracker Jacks watching the game. So it's been awesome to see the 2 thrive and feed off each other. And, I think you can sit back and say it's great now, but what if we could go full stadium? Or what if our guys continue to feed this fire? It could be pretty special. So a lot of long-winded answers because a lot of emotion injected into me from our players and the fans. So anyone that's got something else, hit me up with a text message and we'll answer you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
All right, guys. Well, players.